So as we've seen before, William Jensen is playing the Reed Duke style Jund. He's playing the no Lifebane Zombie Jund deck. Essentially, so basically just the 4 Thragtusks, 4 Huntmasters, 3 Olivias, 3 Scavenging Oozes. But David Hunting...
basically playing the exact same deck, with the exception being he has 3 Lifebane Zombies instead of a little bit of the removal.
All right. So both players start... remember, Huey's on the play. He started on Blood Crypt, follows it up with Kessig Wolfrun.
Where's his green mana?
Yeah, where's his green mana? So he does have the turn 2 Farseek. I don't think he has the green mana for it yet. So Hunting actually is going to be the first player to cast a Farseek here as he plays it off Ancient Tomb and Dragon Skull Summit. So, obviously for Huey, this is, not his first match with Jund by any stretch of the imagination. What kind of non-green hands, especially in this kind of matchup where getting up to 4 or 5 mana is so important, what kind of hands do you keep without green mana? What are the really important cards?
Well, first of all, do we know that he doesn't have a Farseek? Or that he has a Farseek? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, I'm not sure what all, I guess he doesn't even have a 3rd land at all.
All right, so we'll go ahead and see. Yep, he's kept Huntmaster, Scavenging Ooze,
Wild.
Tragic Slip,
Kind of surprised,
Thragtusk,
actually.
Farseek, Bonfire.
I guess this hand is just stone awesome if you draw a green land, but this is not a particularly great hand.
Yeah, I believe actually that he was on a Mulda 6, it looks like, based on the number of cards that he had 6 there.
And so I guess once you're at the Mulda 6, you might be like, okay, I'm just willing to take a chance. Hopefully I draw green.
Yeah,
No.
because that hand, if he does draw the green, is a pretty good hand.
Even if he had green mana here, he wouldn't be able to cast anything.
Yeah. Well, he'd be able to cast a Farseek, but yeah, you're right.
If he just had a 3rd land, then the Farseek could get him up to a 4th.
Right.
But all right, William Jensen still just trying to bide his time. At least he's got some removal. Unfortunately, Thragtusk is going to be a little bit of a pain.
Yeah,
he's going to have to kill it twice.
Yeah, so he is able to Tragic Slip the Lifebane Zombie, so to keep that off the board. Now, yeah, you're right, he's going to have to kill the Thragtusk twice. You can see on his face, not really thrilled about it, but he does play the first Mizium Mortars on Thragtusk. And passes back as he's still looking for that 3rd land.
We have a Brad Nelson on the table.
I think it's a Todd Anderson.
Is that a Todd Anderson?
It's a Todd, yeah.
Which one's Brad?
Well,
he's a human.
He's a human because the first cycle of them were all humans, and
Yeah.
he was part of the first one. So yeah, Todd's part of the second generation of tokens.
Yeah, they've evolved. It's like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
All right, so the Beast token there, swinging in for 3. Hunting's going to go ahead, not Kessig Wolfrun. He's going to play a Scavenging Ooze.
Must be so nice to just have green mana for
Yes.
days.
And we see another kill spell drawn by Huey. He has a Doomblade drawn this turn. So plenty of ways to answer creatures, but no lands.
Now the good news is Mana Screw beats Mana Flood. If
Right.
he draws out of it a little bit, at least he's got a ton of gas in the tank, whereas Hunting might actually flood out.
Right, so he needs to, he needs to obviously not die until that land comes. He also probably has to, he has to hope that he's not going to get Rakdos returned or something silly like that, or a Garruk drawing 5 cards.
The other big problem, of course, is that one of those lands is a Kessig Wolfrun.
Right.
So there's a real limit to how flooded you can really be if you have a Kessig Wolfrun.
So Hunting swings, and it looks like he activates Kessig Wolfrun for 3, I believe, on the Beast token. We'll go ahead and confirm that there. So,
Finally,
no,
green
it
mana.
looks like he activated it on the Scavenging Ooze, actually. So an easy choice there for
Mistake.
Huey. Yeah, he took out the Scavenging Ooze, and now he actually has the green for Farseek, so he's got a shot.
So you're saying there's a chance?
I'm saying there's a chance. He's still working overtime to catch up here, but he does have a Thragtusk in hand. If he draws a land next turn, he might be able to stabilize this game.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's got a Huntmaster of the Fells in his hand. He's got a Thragtusk. Does he have one more removal spell?
I believe he has
a
Bonfire,
which
could use more lands.
Yeah, but it's potentially an answer to a Huntmaster coming out of Hunting, or even a Lifebane Zombie at some point.
Right. So swing for 3 from Hunting puts Jensen down to 11, but Hunting has plenty of follow-up here. It looks like he has a Huntmaster of the Fells, which he's going to make here. That'll put more pressure on the board, put Hunting up to a healthy 27, but really just provides more threats that Jensen's going to have to deal with.
And if Huey spends his turn bonfiring, he's going to get clocked for 7, unless Hunting has something even better to do. So it's not like he can afford to hang out for very long. Right. He does have a 5th mana though.
He's drawn the 5th land. Now Hunting's hand has both Dreadbore and it's Dreadbore, Bonfire the Damned and Putrefy. So right now, Hunting's game plan is just you know, basically kill all of Jensen's drops.
Yeah, I think at this point, I mean, as sad as it is, you got to just Bonfire the Huntmaster away. If he plays the Thragtusk, the Huntmaster can theoretically flip, becoming so
really
big he
bad
can't get
news.
Bonfired. Or he could just kill both halves of the Thragtusk and just bash even harder.
So worst case scenario, if he bonfires here,
He does play the
he's gonna go
Thragtusk,
for
though.
Thragtusk.
Yeah, he can't know that his opponent has the
million kill
actual
spells.
blade.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing is if he kills both the Huntmaster and the Wolf token, it looks like the most he can take is 7 off that, or maybe 8 off that Beast token next turn. So he would have dropped to 3 at that point, which I guess is a pretty scary life total to be at, especially when your opponent
Huey
has
is a man with
3/3.
he knows a lot of things, but the one thing he doesn't know is fear.
Just, just whatever. Okay. So we do see the Thragtusk get Putrefied and Dread. The second half gets Dreadboard. He tosses it off to the side. So the Dreadboard means the Huntmaster won't flip, but we see a swing for 7, and Kessig Wolfrun able to pump that 7 up to 8, 9, dropping Huey down to a low 7 life points.
Absolutely. The problem is, what's your plan now? If he bonfires and kills the Huntmaster,
He dies.
he dies on board.
Right. No, so that means he's committed to playing Thragtusk, right? He has to play his second Thragtusk.
If he has one at this point, now he's just, there's nothing else he can do.
Yeah, I believe he does. So I think he's got that shot. Yep, so we see there in his hand Thragtusk. We know he has a bonfire. And he has a Huntmaster of his own.
So he's going to have to trade his Thragtusk for the Beast token, whichever way this breaks, which puts him at a pretty low life total, but he can threaten to Bonfire to take over the game. However, the way this probably ends is a Bonfire killing him back. Oh, he also has Garruk.
So Hunting has a choice now between flipping the Huntmaster or just making Garruk Primal Hunter.
Well, he's also, he also potentially could Bonfire if he really wanted to, But
Yeah. Bonfire on
he does
3.
just trade his token for the Thragtusk.
Yep, and he's not going to, he didn't Wolf Run it there, so it looks like he is planning to cast something. And
Yeah,
it's-
interesting. I wouldn't mind flipping the Huntmaster, but Garruk's not bad.
Yeah, I don't mind resolving Garruk either.
Yeah, but Bonfire's going to be pretty nice.
Yeah. So Garruk there. He's gonna, he taps out for a Garruk. He's gonna go ahead and make a beast. Huey does have a pretty sweet out right now. If he can miracle a bonfire,
It would not be the worst.
That would be, I think like 4 damage to, maybe Garruk and all of Hunting's creatures would be pretty good right here.
Yep, to be sure.
And Huey, no, doesn't have
A little miracle check.
Nope. So he does have a Huntmaster to follow up with. But yeah, that Garruk, he wants to kill it if possible. Next turn there's the unfortunate play where Hunting uses Wolf Run to pump one of his creatures, then uses Garruk to draw, 6, 7, 8 cards, and then swings across for a lot of damage.
Well, plus, Hunting still has Bonfire, right?
Right. Hunting does still have a bonfire
So-
and 7 mana.
Yeah, so if he plays a Huntmaster, he can just go Bonfire for 3, sweep your entire team, knock you to 9, then attack for 10.
Yeah, that would be good too. Attack for
Which doesn't kill Huey, because if he Huntmasters, he goes up to 14.
Mm-hmm.
But it does have him at a very
Has him
precarious
very close
1
to
with
death.
0 board, facing down lots of creatures of different types and a Garruk.
So yeah, with the Huntmaster, it's tough. All his creatures actually are 3 toughness the turn they come down. So maybe he needs to try to sweep back, right?
You're saying Huey needs to sweep
Yep,
back?
Huey needs to sweep right here, which he's going to do, the bonfire for 2. He's going to redirect it to Garruk, so Garruk can't -3 yet.
Right, and just Hunting's life total is so high, who cares?
Yeah. All right, beasts will trade. Huey
An
passes the
interesting
turn.
trade. Now, I assume he was threatening Garruk,
Yeah,
which
I would
prompted the
think
trade. But this does somewhat decrease Kessig Wolfrun's power. Now, that said, Hunting does have a Garruk, so it's not like this is a long delay.
Yeah, no, resolving Garruk in this matchup is just very important. We actually do see that Jensen has his own Garruk right now. Unfortunately, that Kessig Wolf run means that Jensen's Garruk won't get to stay around.
Yeah, correct. But he's got to do something because that Kissel Wolf Run also means that William Jensen will not get to stick around for very long if he doesn't produce some kind of action. He needs to find a way to get rid of that Garruk. It's interesting. Under the old rules, he'd be able to play Garruk, they legend rule each other, and then all he has to do is deal with 1 3/3 next turn. Instead, he's got plenty of 3/3s, but he's so far behind on Kessel Wolf Run, it's going to be real tough for him to do anything.
Yeah, in the Jundmere, it seems at least, answering Kessig Wolf Run seems to be really hard. Once one player gets it down with enough lands.
Yeah, I mean, they don't play a ton of acidic slime type cards, if any.
Yeah, blocking just becomes really difficult. We see a Putrefy on end step there from Hunting, and now a huge amount of lands. Looks like he has 9 lands in play, so he's going to go ahead and swing with the Beast token.
Well, and the real action here, though, is that if he wants... Okay, so he decides just to kill Garruk, but if he wanted to, he could spend tons of mana so that he just draws...
9 cards.
Yeah, 9 cards.
Yeah.
But he instead decides he'd rather just keep his Garruk, make another beast, and make sure that I don't know. I guess 9 cards isn't that insane, but sure would be nice to have 9 cards.
Yeah. I mean, I think definitely if that play's still available next turn, I would go for it.
So the problem is that Huey's dead on board now. Even if he Dreadbores the Garruk, he's facing down lethal anyway.
Yeah, the Kessig Wolf
I think
Run.
he's just too far behind on this one. He's going to have to try to make it up after board.
Yeah, the Kessig Wolf Run can pump for 6, so that is 12 power. Huey's going to need a kill spell of some sort, or he can use chump blockers to suck up damage, but that's really just kind of prolonging the problem.
Yeah, prolonging the inevitable. Because if he doesn't do something with the Garruk, it's just never going to end.
So we see here another Garruk available for Huey. He has a Huntmaster.
No shortage of options, but fortunately missing that 3rd land drop, proving to be brutal.
Yeah, I think it was for 3 turns he'd missed it. So a pretty good way to pull back into the game here. We see another Garruk for Huey. It's going to make another beast. Well aware that the play that happened last turn can repeat itself here. He gets a beast token. He's going to pass back the turn. All right, so we see Hunting untapping with a full 9 lands,
which is enough to make it so that Huey has to block. Now, if you're Hunting, do you actually attack Garruk at all, or do you just go to Huey's face and make him pay?
Make him block.
He'll have to block. You can trample hard. You'll knock him down to 3, and you can draw 9 cards off your Garruk and keep your Garruk. That sounds like a real good deal.
Yeah, I mean, I almost want to say, he has just like this wealth of options available to him. I think that's the line I would take as well, but I'm not sure that there's a line that, as long as David picks a reasonable line, I think he can seal up this game a lot of different ways.
Oh man, he even has Bonfire in his hand.
Right. He can slip something, he can bond.
Well, what he does is he does this pump so that Huey's at 3, so that then the Bonfire is going to be lethal.
Right.
And the fact that he has 9 cards gives him enough room to protect it from Rakdos' return.
Right.
Although Huey would still have to deal with the fact that there's 2 lethal threats in a Kessig Wolf Run and a Garruk all in play as well.
So we'll see where those beast tokens are going. If they're going at Jensen, he's going to have to block.
Or he could just Stone Jedi him. Don't block.
Don't block.
Take it, and Hunting not pump all the way.
That
way.
Okay, they're going at Garruk.
Huh.
Wow. Okay.
Well, buys Huey a turn.
Yeah.
I still think. God,
that's a conservative play.
Man, I would love to draw 9 cards.
Well, the thing is, right now, what if Huey miracles the Bonfire? It's for 5. It's for 5. Like, how good would that be?
Miracle Bonfire actually,
wins him the game.
It is game winning.
Yeah. He's leaving Jensen this out of miracling a Bonfire. I don't know for how many more turns, but it's there. Huey doesn't do it though.
Not yet. Well, we'll see. We'll see. At this point, what's his next line of play? I mean,
well, I think any route to victory.
He plays the Huntmaster, goes to 14. Hunting again, threatening to devastate Huey's life total and draw 9 cards.
Right here, he can Bonfire for, he has 10 mana, so he can Bonfire for 4 and swing for 9. Actually, if he plays that land now, he can Bonfire for 5 and swing for 9.
which is
Okay,
lethal.
that's
If he's
lethal.
got enough. Does he have 11 land? 4,
1, 2.
6, 8, 10. Is that?
And there's that one hiding up. Okay, so no, he's 1 short. He has
Yeah,
10
that's what I
lands.
thought.
He's
Yeah.
bonfiring for 4.
Which means Huey's going to drop to 1 from this attack.
All right.
This might be a good time for Hunting to go ahead and draw 3 cards. He didn't want 9, but
I wouldn't want to plus the Garrick, and I would minus it. Yep, and he's
does.
going to draw 3 cards. Okay.
9 cards for too much. 3 cards though. At least this way he doesn't just lose to a bonfire.
Right. So bonfire. I think Huey's only out at this point.
To buy himself another turn.
Yeah. Well, Mizium Mortars buys him another turn.
That's true. He does have one of those.
Right. And
He packs
none. Yeah, none of them show up.
So we're into to game 2. What do each of these players have for the Gen Mirror? First, Jensen.
Okay. So Jensen has the extra Rakdos' return. We saw him play a Jundamir earlier. And well, it wasn't Jensen. Sorry, we saw him play against the black-green rock deck, which I imagine the sideboarding for the 2 is pretty similar. He boarded in an Acidic Slime that last time. He boarded in the Rakdos' return. He boarded in 2 Underworld Connections and I believe 2 Duresses.
Interesting. And then on Hunting's side, he's got those Duresses as well, Rakdos' Return, Garruk Primal Hunter, Underworld Connections.
That's Garruk number 3 for him. So he has 1 more Garruk than Jensen then.
Yeah, but for the most part, it's pretty close to a mirror match, except Hunting has the Lifebane Zombies instead of some of the removal, giving him a small edge in the matchup to begin with.
It looks like he'll have 1 more Garruk, he'll have 1 more Underworld Connections.
And then the 3 extra Lifebane Zombies.
Yep.
And I mean, the thing is though, he's going to have to cut some decent cards
Right.
to make room, because it's not like there's a bunch of bad cards. However, that said, the removal isn't golden by any means.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
Okay.
We're gonna go give. What are we giving away for this particular thing? Because we're doing this as a trivia.
Right. So we're going to bring you back into the booth here while the players are sideboarding.
Well,
And we're
shoot.
gonna
Yeah.
do,
Let's get paid.
Okay.
Let's. Who wants to get paid? What
Okay.
are we doing?
Well, the first one is for 3 months of Star City Games Premium. That's tonight during the top 8. If you watch again tomorrow morning when we do the top 4 in the finals, it proceeds to be 6 months of Star City Premium, followed by a year's worth of Star City Premium.
Sick.
All right.
So the trivia question is, in this tournament. Oh yeah. By the way,
Okay.
when you know the answer, as fast as you can, type it to at SCG Live, and just have the right answer.
Yeah, make sure you have this hashtag SCG Premium on it. And
SCG Premium.
You actually have until the end of the top 8 to submit the answer.
This
So
is not a race.
it's not a race. Not the first
If you
person
race,
wins.
you can definitely earn some respect from your peers who care about racing.
Yeah, we'll say who the first person to submit it was.
Oh,
But
okay.
that's not the one who wins.
Yeah, the
I'll-
winner is
I'll
going to be chosen at
acknowledge
random, so you have 1 round to correctly answer. In this tournament, we saw a red-white deck.
Yep.
What 4 casting cost creature did this red-white deck play? What is the name of the 4 casting cost creature that this
Red-white
red-white deck played?
There's only 1 4-mana creature?
God, I hope so.
I hope so. All right. How about this? It's a Boros aligned creature.
You're giving out even more
I'm giving.
information.
Well, I just want to make sure. I don't know if there's a second one, and I'm
Nah.
pretty sure there's only 1 Boros aligned for it. Right?
Yeah, no, it's yeah. What
It was a
red
4.
and white creature was found in the earlier red-white deck that we saw today? If you know it, tweet at SCG Live #SCG Premium, and let us know.
All right.
The deck was sweet, by the way.
Okay. So let's bring us back into the match. We saw both players. Yeah, in game 1 we saw Huey on the play on a mulligan he kept a 6-card hand that was one of those I would kind of describe as a high risk, high reward hand. He kept one without green, but one that was probably 1 green away from being a pretty decent hand.
Yeah. I mean, it was one of those, he doesn't want to play down 2 cards against Jund to begin with. If he's got a hand that's literally 1 card about greatness, 1 card from greatness, sometimes you roll the dice. However, this match, best 2 out of 3, so he still has a lot of opportunity to redeem himself. Unfortunately, slightly stacked deck against him. It'll be interesting to see, are they really, what is there strategically to do? It's mostly just tactics, right? It's mostly just what cards did they play, what cards do I have in my hand, make the decisions as the board calls for. There isn't any, dramatic change in strategy.
Overarching.
You just kind of play the cards the right way, the best you can, you know?
Yeah, well, they're both mid-range decks, so, that's a lot of, I mean, I think, what is it, if you can talk about what tends to win games, like a big Rakdos return is really strong. Usually -3ing a Garruk tends to win a game.
Not missing land drops when the person does.
Right, and it's not, but just saying that from a strategy point, it's like, okay, I could say, yeah, it's a good strategy to cast a large Rakdos as a return.
Yeah, but that's not even really a strategy,
anything.
that's just a tactic.
Yeah, you're just like, hey, here's Rakdos return, I'll cast it. Like, so, I mean, I think recognizing just how important that tactic is, like how important that is in the tactics is probably something. But yeah, playing it, a lot of it's just in the sequencing of cards, determining what's important, what isn't.
Yeah, we saw earlier purple having the advantage over pink in the color of sleeves matchup.
Yeah.
This time, I think this time black actually has the edge over purple. That said,
yeah.
Lifebane Zombie, pretty nice card. So, but William Jensen, pretty nice dude.
All right, so we get a seven card hands from both players this time. We do see what appears to be a turn 2 Farseek and Hunting Sand.
Farseek super important in this matchup.
Yep. Jensen with 2 tapped lands into play, both of them shock lands. No Farseek from him. Hunting will be able to press his mana advantage here.
Now, that said, Huey does have Rakdos Keyrune, right? So he does have a way to get back ahead himself.
Yeah, so he can ramp into that 5, that Thrag Tusk, that Garruk, just as fast as Hunting can. He's not going to be able to ramp into that Huntmaster, but yeah, Rakdos Keyrune still pretty good here.
Yep.
So we see the Farseek comes from Hunting. He's going to go ahead and get a Stomping Ground, so now he has all his colors online. Hunting also has made a Kessig Wolf Run. And
Kessig Wolf Run, the most important land in this matchup. I mean, obviously, you want to be able to get all your colors and everything, but if the game goes out, if you just throw your cards against each other, the person who has a Kessig Wolf Run has the ability to make all of his cards and just game-ending threats eventually.
Yeah, well, what we saw last game was that what the Kessig Wolf Run allowed Hunting to do was he was ahead on board, and basically the pressure allowed him to push, let him stay ahead. It really limited the number of outs that Huey had.
Yeah. So, what do you think? Are we going to see an Abrupt Decay on that Rakdos Keyrune?
Yeah, we do see Rakdos Keyrune from Jensen, and it looks like it's going to get Abrupt Decay.
Yeah, I think he has Putrefy also, but I think he wants to save the Putrefy in case he needs to use it on Olivia or a Thragtusk.
Yeah, Putrefy seems to be the more versatile one here. Granted, Huey does have an Underworld Connections in hand, so it's possible that he will end up regretting having chosen it that way.
I mean, Huey's going to start with Huntmaster. He's got to keep the momentum going, right? Like, I mean,
yeah, you can't just start by Underworld Connectionsing, right?
Yeah, you want to have a board presence. You want to make sure that Hunting has to keep reacting to you.
Okay, so Huey has the first creature on the table. It is, as you said, Huntmaster of the Fells. That'll put him up to 22. Hunting going to respond on his own with a Miracle of Bonfire.
That's right on time.
All right, so Huey back down to 19, and board is empty again. It does look like Hunting has no other cards in lands.
Yeah, he's got Rakdos' Return, a few Thragtusks,
yeah,
Putrefy.
2 Thragtusks, Putrefy, Ooze, and a Rakdos' Return. So a lot of options, but he will need to hit the lands in order for them to curve out.
Yep. So we're probably going to see Underworld Connections here.
Yeah, Huey has the option of Huntmaster. What's interesting is that he didn't play the Huntmaster again there.
That's because he sees that Hunting missed the land drop. So Hunting has probably got a hand of removal and creatures. So that playing the Huntmaster doesn't have as much value yet. Right. However, if Hunting has not yet played any creatures and is missing his land drops, then this is an opportunity
to take
for
extra cards.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a real smart play by Huey.
Yeah, and what I really like about that is the 2 boards look so similar. So you'd have to, most players would think, hey, I should just make the same play I made again before. But I like that he recognizes that difference there and kind of just adapts his game plan.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it can make all the difference in the world missing a land drop.
Yeah. So Hunting there doesn't draw the land for the turn. He draws the next best thing. He draws a Farseek and goes ahead and makes Farseek and that Scavenging Ooze that's in his hand.
And absolutely, and this is not a bad little sequence here. He's got a threat on the table. It's not a big one, but at least he's got something going on. And next turn he'll be able to start dropping Thragtusks and hopefully Rakdos Return real soon.
Yeah, he has 2 Tusks and Rakdos Return and Putrefy at the moment.
Yes. Huey, not as scared of Rakdos Return as one might be, partly because he's a man without fear, but also partly because he has an Underworld Connections, giving him a chance to rebuild if it comes to that.
Right. Yeah, and his life total is high enough where, he can, the damage between the damage that Rakdos' Return and Underworld Connections does, he can recover. He still has enough life points to work with. He, right here, does have Olivia Voldaren, it looks like. and a Dreadbore, and he's going to start out by drawing a card, which is Abrupt Decay.
Interesting. So do you think Olivia or Huntmaster? What do you like here?
Well, if you're Huey, you may suspect a Rakdos' return. So if I suspect a return, I think I go for Huntmaster first. Like, the thing is, Huey has an all removal spell hand, which is, you know, he's kind of weak against Rakdos' return.
Yeah, the nice thing about the Huntmaster is that you don't just lose your entire turn to a single removal spell.
Yeah. I think I want to make sure I still have something on the board in case, in case things go wrong.
There's also, interesting, Garruk.
Yeah, so Hunting opts to play Garruk Primal Hunter over a Thragtusk that turn. And he's going to go ahead and Garruk make a beast. Now pressure's on Huey.
Well, Huey does have Underworld Connections continuing to build. Ooh.
And he right back
I think
at
that's
Hunting.
game winning.
That's
huge.
huge.
I don't see Hunting being able to recover from that. He just lost everything he had going on.
So will Huey, the victim of an early Miracled Bonfire, one-ups and miracles his own bonfire, and I think a more devastating fashion right
Absolutely.
there.
I think that was just backbreaking. At this point, as long as Huey makes sure that his life total doesn't drop too precariously low, he's got so many different types of advantages. He's got a full grip. He's got Huntmaster with a wolf. He's got the Underworld Connections. He's got plenty of land.
Yeah. What Hunting does have is 2 Thragtusks and a Rakdos' return, so he's we're gonna see a parade of Thragtusks and kind of Hunting hoping that that's enough.
Yep.
So he's
Now, is this Rakdos return for the full amount, or is William just going to keep 1 card?
I think Huey gets to keep a card off that. He drops to 14.
No,
it
it
was
is
his
the full
whole
amount.
hand.
Yep. So now the thing is, though, not only does he get to bash for 4, he gets to flip his Huntmaster if he wants.
Yeah. So would have you made the Thragtusk first there, or would you still like the Rakdos?
No,
return?
I think if you get the whole hand, then you have to Mind Twist him first. Like, it's not a great situation, but there's no point in playing the Thragtusk if William Jensen gets to just destroy what you play next,
Yeah. All right, so an attack and the flip there from Jensen puts both players to 12. Hunting's going to try to recover first. He taps out for a Thragtusk. Jensen goes down to 11 by activating Underworld Connections and finds his own Thragtusk to respond with.
Yeah. What's really nice though is that Jensen can actually flip his Huntmaster the other way.
Yeah, he has a Farseek as well.
Yep. Now he may end up deciding to just bash with his Huntmaster the Fells, but I think he'd rather just continue to expand his board.
Yep, so he goes Thragtusk, putting himself up to 18, down to 16 to play a Farseek. But you're absolutely right. He's going to get to flip that Huntmaster back. With all this life gain he's playing, it really is starting to look like that Underworld Connections can just pull him ahead here.
Oh yeah. I mean, he's already seen so much profit as a result of it. He actually could have been in rough shape after the Rakdos' return if not for the connections.
Yeah.
But William Jensen is definitely a man with some Underworld Connections.
All right, so the Farseek finds a Blood Crypt. That moves Jensen up to 9 lands. Still no Kessig Wolf Run, though. Hunting is on 6 lands, but does have a Wolf Run going.
Yeah, I mean, I think at some point, if Jensen draws Wolf Run, he can play sort of let's just kill you in the next 2 turns type of game. But in the meantime, there's no hurry. He's got every kind of different advantage on the board. He's got Underworld Connections. He's got plenty of mana. He's got plenty of life to work with. Just play it safe, keep it cool, and make sure the game doesn't get too active. You don't want a very volatile game when you're winning on this many different metrics. Now, if you're hunting, what you want is to go ahead and just draw a bonfire.
Yeah, just
get busy.
Miracle another bonfire.
Why stop there?
Yeah.
Just miracle bonfires
from here on out. Just keep doing it.
Yeah.
that'd be a little tilting. So Huey there goes ahead and puts 2 creatures in front of the Thragtusk. He's being very protective of his own life total.
Yeah, and now we see. It's also interesting too. You got to remember with Kessig Wolf Run, if Hunting had a single removal spell, he could potentially use a removal spell on the 1 blocker, trample over, and suddenly Huey's life total's down to like 8, 7. Won't get to necro very much, and puts him at risk of a Rakdos' return or a bonfire being
now
a serious problem.
that's still he buffed with a 3/3 into 2/2, so that still would actually, if it was a removal spell, it still would have happened though, right? Because he'd removal spell the 3/3.
So he'd soak up a couple more points of damage though.
Yeah, absolutely. And the drop Underworld Connections does another one main phase. Huey has drawn a second Underworld Connections and an Acidic Slime.
Ooh, this is super valuable. Hitting that Wolf Run.
Hitting Wolf Run seems really big.
That quiets down the activity on the board so much.
Yep, and then he's going to go ahead and tap out for the second Underworld Connections, and he passes the turn. That was 2 spells in the turn, but the Huntmaster was already flipped back to the Huntmaster side, so he's just going to play the long game here.
Yep. Although I don't think it'll be too much longer. I I think we're looking at a game 3. Hunting does have a variety of options, though. He's definitely gonna make a fight of it.
Yeah, well, he's actually drawn his own Underworld connections. So while he doesn't have the same, 3 cards per turn that Huey has, he does have 2 cards per turn. And if he can get the right ones, say an Abrupt Decay, say maybe that Timely Bonfire happens, Hunting might be able to steal one here.
Yeah, I don't think... I think it's too late for too much Abrupt Decay with 2 different Underworld connections. I think at this point, it's got to be about the life total. Hunting is going to gain a lot from his connections because he's got so much life to work with, thanks to all these Thragtusks. But what he really needs is stuff like Rakdos' Return, Bonfire, just big sources of damage.
Just burn spells.
Yeah, because the creature's too easy for like an Olivia to die.
Yeah.
Scavenging Ooze is nice. It gives him some more life to work with, and it is another threat that is eventually going to have to be dealt with.
So you're saying when Huey's drawing 3 cards a turn, it's impossible to stick a creature? Or not impossible, but really hard.
I mean, it is hard, and both players' life totals are going to start dropping just from all this necroing they're doing. It's much harder for these decks to beat draw and burn spells than it is for them to beat, creatures with summoning sickness.
Yeah, now Huey just really showing the power of Underworld connections, pays a life for a card there. He gets Huntmaster of the Fells once again, so, paying 1 life for a creature that's both a threat and gaining 2 life, it's not really dropping on life.
Interesting. Hunting chooses to not block.
Yeah, it looks like Hunting is just trying to maximize the amount of attacking he can do. Doesn't really seem inclined to trade the Thragtusks. Though he is the one person with I do like that Hunting does have one advantage right now where he has the only Scavenging Ooze on the board.
Yep.
And Scavenging Ooze hasn't been played yet, so there are a lot of things in the graveyards for it to eat.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Huey does play that Huntmaster, freshly drawn, puts him up to 18. He's going to go ahead and pass the turn. Now Hunting will start using some of his own Underworld connections.
Absolutely. Scavenging Ooze is a great combo with... Whoa.
Actually, sorry, he used the green mana not to draw a card. He used it to eat a creature, to Scavenging Ooze.
Interesting. Yeah, definitely interesting. Particularly since he doesn't really have any gas in his hand, but...
Yeah.
So, it's also interesting that with so much black mana, Hunting is actually bottlenecked on green mana.
Yeah, and did he put that the connections is on a green?
Yep.
Yeah.
Decides to attack with a Thragtusk.
All right, so now the choice, I think he didn't really want to trade it with Huey's Thragtusk. He is fine trading it with the Huntmaster of the Fells. I think once those Huntmasters show up in pair, they can be scary because Huey can flip both of them and then kill something like a Thragtusk on the flip.
And he was kind of hoping that Huey might block with a Wolf and a Huntmaster so they could get the nice Putrefy blowouts. He's going to have to Putrefy a Huntmaster anyway.
Right.
He goes for the Thragtusk.
Okay.
That's...
Well, if his plan is to Miracle a Bonfire, I could see this. Let's go ahead and get the Thragtusk so that lucky Miracle Bonfire is just really good.
Both Huntmasters are going to flip.
Right.
If Huey wants, which is...
I imagine that's what Huey will want. We'll see. It depends what he draws, but...
Absolutely.
He goes to 17 on end step, drawing an extra card. And then he'll get a play. Remember, Huey has not found his own Kessig Wolfrun yet. Really, he can just buy time. He plays 2.
He just found one.
Oh, okay. Now he has one. And that will really decrease the clock that Hunting has. And actually, I think that's lethal. If he just Wolfruns his team right here.
Yep.
And yep, okay, so then Wolfrun for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The swing is for 7 more. That looks like the entire life total.
We go to game 3.
We're on to game 3. Yeah, Huey, even with the 2 extra from those Huntmasters that are about to flip,
has it cemented.
Yeah. All right, so often with these Jund mid-range mirrors, let's look at that last game because I kind of like to try to describe, how is it that eventually you get to this point where you realize that Huey's going to win, right?
I think it was when he flipped over the Miracle Bonfire.
Okay.
That for me, that was the moment, but...
All right. So for you to describe, I guess in a theoretical way, so you said he was ahead in a lot of different areas. So what areas, what axes is this game played on?
The Jund decks can attack from a variety of different angles. They have Huntmaster of the Fells, which not only gives you multiple bodies and threats, there's this sort of pressure on you to keep playing spells in this sort of rhythm, or else you start having creatures die, taking extra damage, more wolves and life getting made. You've also got Olivia, which threatens to single-handedly win the game if it doesn't have a removal spell in the relatively near future to deal with. You've got just lots of bodies like Thragtusks and Beasts and stuff like that that could be occupying one dimension. You've got Planeswalkers like Liliana or Garruk or Vrask even, and then you've got land like Hexagolf Run, which can turn any creature into a lethal threat. And you've also got a fistful of cards like Rakdos' Return or removal spells. So there's lots and lots of different metrics that these people are fighting over. So whenever they play a decisive card like Rakdos' Return or Miracle Bonfire, sometimes they can take over several of those battlefields at the same time, like we saw from Huey being able to kill a Garruk and sweep an entire board, and all in one big fell, as well as reducing Hunting's options by no longer having any blockers. He starts bashing him quite a bit.
So you'd say like he got ahead on creatures with that play. He also
and Planeswalker. He got rid of Hunting's Planeswalker and life also, because Huey had a full board, and now that Hunting has no board, he can just start swinging, which immediately puts Hunting on the back foot.
Okay.
We do have an update. It looks like Felt defeated Kimmich 2-0.
Yeah, so Bryce Felt, he's playing the black-green rock deck. He defeated one of our many red-green aggro decks, that one in the hand of Reggie Kimmich. So Bryce moves on to the top 4. He'll be playing tomorrow. He's one playing our only other really board control deck. He'll be playing the winner between Ben Black's Hexproof and Jacob Toby's red-green aggro. And I think as the rock player, you have to kind of like where you're sitting in that top 4.
Yeah, I mean, my understanding is that the black-green rock deck is good against red-green aggro. It's like a Jund deck, except it's actually good against red-green aggro, and it's also decent against hexproof. So, I think it's really I think that Bryce he's happy with his position. He's hoping that the Jund player, like, he doesn't face Jund in the finals. He would much rather face another red-green deck in the finals if he can make it that far. The Jund players, they got to get through the winner of a red-green mirror match, which is definitely a very challenging matchup. But if they can do that, I think that they would love to play against that rock deck.
Yeah, looking at that matchup, when I was looking at the potential for hexproof, Ben Black's our overall 1 seed. He's one of our 2 undefeated players. I don't know if he's had to face a rock deck yet, but actually it won't be happening though, because Ben Black did take his first loss. Jacob Toby and red-green aggro did move 2-0. Moves on to the semifinals. So that is the first half of our bracket taken care of. We have red-green aggro with Jacob Toby tomorrow morning playing against Bryce Felt's black-green rock deck.
Yep, absolutely. And then on this side of the bracket, we're going to have another board control deck versus another red-green aggro deck.
Yeah, it will be a Jund versus red-green aggro, but we knew that from the moment the brackets were out. The question is, who will the pilots be?
Yeah, absolutely. So interesting. We could see, this could break a lot of different ways. The red-green, red-green, Jacob Toby would much rather face the Jund match in the finals, whereas Bryce would much rather face red-green aggro.
Right.
And the opposite is true on the other side of the bracket. So
you could see Bryce go through the entire tournament only playing red-green aggro decks. That would be kind of one of those amusing top 8s.
It's funny, despite there only being 4 decks left, we really do have a paper rock scissors type of setup,
Yeah, it's definitely, Jund is good against rock is good against aggro is good against Jund.
Yep. Now that said, the burden of proof is really going to be on the Jund deck, because it's going to have to get through one of its rough matchups for the hope of facing a good matchup.
Right. I think it's hardest from Jund's situation, because Jund knows it has 1 rough matchup and has potentially 2, whereas the rock deck, for example, has 1 good matchup and potentially 2 good matchups. Red-green, has 1 bad matchup and might have a good one, might have a mirror.
Yep. On this side of the bracket.
Yes. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, there's 2 different aggro. Yeah, on this side of the bracket, there's...
So we're going to go into game 3. This time, Hunting is on the play. Being on the play, valuable. Not as valuable as in some of the other matchups, but still pretty nice, because as we saw that game, when you have tempo, it can be super valuable to be continuing to press threats. It often leads to you being the guy who gets to stick a Planeswalker without it dying immediately, or being the first guy to Rakdos' Return.
So not just tempo, Hunting's actually going to be able, on the same number of cards. Huey did mulligan to 6 this game. So Hunting starts out on Rootbound Crag and Hexagolf Run. He far seeks to find a Stomping Ground. Doesn't look for the black there. Presumably he still has it in his hand.
Yep, absolutely. That's definitely an indication, particularly considering he's got Lifebane zombies all over the place, that he's got a mana-heavy hand. That he's got at least 2 more mana sources.
Yeah. So we do know the winner of this will be going on to play Rouger Abear in the top 4. Rouger playing red-green aggro did defeat Kenny Thomas. So this will be our final match of the evening between David Hunting and Huey Jensen, finding out which Jund deck will move on. And
no Farseek from Huey again. Takes
Right.
the mulligan. No Farseek. Nothing's coming easy to the Hall of Famer.
so one axis we didn't really talk about, you talked about a land advantage that kind of also corresponds with a tempo advantage. We see Hunting on the play and with the Farseek now up a sizable amount of resources on William Jensen.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a creature which isn't doing a ton, but it's doing something. And when he plays his 5th land here, he's going to be 2 lands ahead of Jensen.
Yeah, so he played Scavenging Ooze.
Which gets Abrupt Decade.
Yep.
A nice play. I mean, I think you got to do it. But these Thragtusk coming down. The thing is, though, Hunting only has 2 threats. Now, they're good threats, Thragtusk and Huntmaster. But it's possible he floods out a little bit. He does have that Castle Friend that he always has, though.
So he has a Putrefy and another Thragtusk?
In Hunting's hand?
Yeah.
He has a Huntmaster, I believe.
A Huntmaster. Okay. So the Putrefy will take care of Olivia. What's interesting is he doesn't seem to have, a lot of times when one Jund deck gets really ahead on resources, there's these big capitalizing plays it can make. He can do something like Garruk draw 5 or something like Rakdos return for 3. And it looks like he doesn't have any of those right now. He does have, which he made, Thragtusk swinging for 5 and a Putrefy for the Olivia. So he's still pretty far ahead, but he doesn't have, one of those game closers, it doesn't look like.
Yeah, and a lot of things could go wrong for him. Like if he gets Rakdos returned.
Yeah. So
just another Olivia.
Another
the problem
Olivia.
is he can't really beat that.
Yeah, he actually has a second Putrefy, but with the way he tapped, he's not able to cast it on end step here. He tapped all 3 of his black sources.
Wow, that's potentially costly.
Yeah, well...
Does he pay the 2 life?
No, so he actually doesn't want the Huntmaster so bad. He's not paying the 2 life. He just goes ahead and Putrefys again. He almost tapped all 3 black, but I think caught himself there.
Wait, yeah, but why not play the Huntmaster?
I'm not sure. Possibly he's playing around a Bonfire. He's ahead on board, but I'm surprised.
You might just need to press your advantage. I don't know. Either way, he's going to continue to bash Huey. Very little life left.
Yeah, 6th land into play tapped. He doesn't appear to have an answer to this Thragtusk because he's dropping down to 5.
He can't wolf run him out. But Hunting does play another Thragtusk.
All right, so with Huey at 5 and 2 Thragtusks.
And he doesn't play Sever the Bloodline, so I think...
Yep.
Yeah, he's
Dreadbore, 3 more lands. That'll go to David Hunting. So
David Hunting up 2-1. The winner of the Jund Mirror match will be advancing tomorrow to face Rouger Abear.
Rouger Abear versus David Hunting tomorrow. So that'll be the Jund versus Red-Green match.
And the winner of that is going to face